Why hello everyone and welcome to today's video. My name is Eric, and if you own a Canon DSLR, specifically an APS-C size sensor like a T7i or an 80D or something along those lines, I'm going to show you a go-to wide-angle lens that if you have the money, you should invest in. So the lens we're going to be focusing on today is the Tokina 11-20mm f2.8. This is an ultra wide angle lens going all the way down to 11mm and going up to 20mm. So it has some zoom range. It has a constant aperture of f2.8, which is going to be relatively decent in low light. And the fact that it's a constant aperture means it will not darken when you zoom in. Going into the build quality of this lens, yes, it's all made of plastic, but it's really high quality, built fantastically. If I drop this, it should be fine. I'm not going to, but it should be fine. If you want to adjust the focal length of this lens, so zooming in, there's a ring that goes around the lens, and it definitely has some weight to it, but it still is relatively smooth. And now if you want to adjust the autofocus, so it does have autofocusing capabilities, but if you want to switch that to manual, you actually go to the ring at the top and you push down on it, which some people don't like. I personally dig that design. Once it's in its manual mode, I guess you could say there's a screen on it, and that shows you what length you are focusing at, which is nice. I don't really use it, but it works. And because we're talking about focusing right now, I should mention that the autofocusing on this lens is not bad. In terms of photography, I never had a problem with it. I thought it was accurate and fast enough. In terms of video though, not everyone might be too happy with it. It does not have an STM motor like some of the newer Canon lenses do. That means that the lens, if you're going to be using it for continuous autofocus in video, it might be a little slow and a little noisy at times. Continuing on with how this lens performs, so its baby brother, the 11-16mm lens, had a lot of issues with chromatic aberration as well as lens flares, and I haven't had a ton of aberration problems. I do see that there are still some lens flares when you're outside shooting really wide. I've never had it be a problem, but just know that, with a wide angle lens with so much glass, there is the chance of having lens flares. In terms of sharpness, this lens, even at f2.8, is still relatively sharp. Never had a problem with that. It does look really good. And now I should bring up distortion. So because it is a wide angle lens, you shouldn't expect no distortions, especially on the outside framing of your shots. And I haven't done any scientific tests with this lens, so I can't give you these specific details, but there definitely are some distortions around the lens. It's a wide angle lens. What are you gonna expect? Quick side note before I go, this lens is made for APS-C size sensors, so that's like your Canon Rebel series, an 80D, something that is not full frame. However, you can get away with putting this on a full frame camera. You will have to zoom in all the way to 20mm to be able to do that, and I haven't tried it out myself, so there might be even more distortions on the side, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, back to the rest of the video. So the big question is, should you buy this lens? And it depends on what you're doing. So for my event videography, so that's like weddings, sweet 16s, this lens has been great to put on a stabilizer, like a 3-axis gimbal, glide cam, whatever. For real estate videography and photography, a wide angle lens is essential, and this lens has been fantastic. For short films, I wouldn't really use this lens, but that's because I don't have a need for super wide angle lens for short films. I'm happy with my 24mm f2.8 pancake lens from Canon for like short films. But for event videography, for nature photography and videography, this lens is fantastic to have in your bag, and I fully recommend it. So you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave that in the comments section below. Anyway guys, my name is Eric, and I'll catch you in the next video.